Hey, what's up? Oh, I posted a couple videos a couple months ago about the new Sony G-Master. G-Master! Which is short for Gangster Master. The possibly dumbest name anybody can name anything. Um, I mentioned about the actual physics that Sony cannot get around with that really shallow E-mount. And the fact that these lenses right down here have an adapter section. That is why there is that bottleneck at the base of those lenses. It doesn't exist on the pancake lenses. Those two videos that I posted got a lot of hate, because it was actually 99% butthurt Sony fanboys. They were just butthurt. Live in the world of denial if you want. Let's take a look at the facts. People are starting to wake up, and there's a post. Check the link below to this post on a mirrorless board. And people are actually starting to wake up to the very thing that I was talking about. Now, this is a cross comparator off of a website that lets you see the actual truth of the matter. And this is the new G-Master 2470 that's sitting on the Sony. That lens is a honking beast. And here's the Canon 2470 right beside it. Well, that's even smaller. You see, this whole article and this link on this board is basically the summation of the fact that no matter how much you love Sony and their new Wonder Box, they cannot get around physics and optics. It's impossible. Sony has not invented a new type of physics, a new spatial folding mechanism, or a new optical hierarchy. They haven't done it. Optics are optics. There's nothing new under the sun. And they can't avoid geometry and optics. And here you'll see this tiny little camera. It's like, well, that camera is really small. I love the hell out of it. It's really tiny. There is a lot of stuff crammed in that little camera. Oh, but once you mount the lens on there, look how big it is. It is just ginormous. It's ginormous. That's the 24-70 G-Master. And let's not take a look at that one. And let's take a look at this one over here. Yeah, here we have them on the left, the Sony A7R II with the new 85mm f1.4 G-Master, Gangster Master. And on the right, the A99 with the Zeiss 85mm f1.4. Do you see this bottleneck at the base of this lens? It's like, wow, this camera is huge over here. And this camera is nice and slim. It's really compact. I love a little Wonder Box. I love little Wonder Box cameras. The thing is how, outside of the specifications, which are BS, specifications don't ultimately mean anything when it comes to real world stuff. It's like, how does it perform? It's like, wow, that camera's really small compared to that. Oh, but once you mount that big ass lens on there, the fact that this is a full frame camera that has that big ass sensor on that shallow little E-mount, it requires this huge bottleneck right here. Do you see how big that is? Okay, before we go look in there, let's talk about Sony E-mount and what Sigma said. And this is a guy just speaking from the heart. Sigma CEO quoted saying, yeah, the diameter is very small on that E-mount. It makes it difficult to design high-quality full-frame lenses. It almost looks like the E-mount was designed for APS-C more than full-frame. Here's Zeiss on the same issue. The short flange distance between the sensor and the rear element is an engineering challenge. That, by the way, is BS speak for, that's a screwed up design, baby. Engineering challenge for ultra-wide lenses. Yo, you don't say. Here's one of there's the Kingpin from Fuji. Hey! Takahashi Ueno. First of all, our XF mount is not compatible with internal image stabilization. Talk about the stabilization sensor side or body side. Thinking about our size similar to our competitors, me referring to the Sony E-mount, why Fujifilm cannot do it? The answer is simple. For the sake of image quality. IBIS has both advantages and disadvantages. IBIS moves the sensor and the mount to stabilize the image. To secure the amount of light at any position, the diameter of the mount must cover the wider circle considering the margin of sensor movement. The diameter of our mount was designed for the image circle without IBIS. It means the amount of light at the corners is reduced when the sensor is shifted. We could correct it digitally, but we don't want to do it. We don't want to compromise our image quality. To cover the larger image circle, not only the mount size and body size, but also the lens must be bigger. So while you have that tiny little wonder box, let's take a look at another image here. This is the E7R2 with the, oh, it's the 84. That's the one I already covered. And yeah, here's the 84. Let me see. I guess I brought up the wrong one. There's 3 different ones there. Oh yeah, here's the one that I was looking for. It's over here. Sorry about that. Yeah. Look at that. This lens on the left on the Canon is a half a stop faster. It's the 85mm 1.4. And on the right, we have the 85mm 1.4 G Master. Over here we have the 85 1.2, excuse me, the Canon 5D with the 85 1.2, excuse me. The text was superimposed. The 85mm 1.2 on the Canon and the 85mm f1.4 G Master on the Sony. You see this here? Let's take a look at this image before you start throwing poo in my face like a rabid monkey, you know, scraping your diaper ready to throw poo in my face. You see this tiny little camera body? You see this gigantic Canon over here? Yeah, well this lens is really fast over here. This is an 85 1.2. This lens is not as fast. This is an 85 1.4. You see that huge bottleneck right here? Okay. Look at this. This tiny little camera. Sony can't get around optics and physics. Period. I said this 2 months ago, and a bunch of Sony fanboys, they were just scratching, they were just flinging poo at me just fast as they could scrape it out of their diaper. Well, once you believe me or you believe your lying eyes, what do you see here? I see here a very fast lens on a gigantic body. And I see a very small camera. Man, that sucker is slim and thin. She's an anorexic little girl. But she has got one big, fat, damn huge lens. And the lens isn't as fast. The limitations of that sensor, that full-frame sensor on that Sony E-mount, is people are starting to wake up. They're like, oh, that fat tattoo dude is right. You know, it's like you can't get around optics and geometry. Sony has not reinvented Euclidean geometry, nor optics. Nor the fact that to cover a full-frame sensor, you actually have to have a distance here. Or what, you can compensate it. You can place the gap right here in the camera, or you can place the gap in the lens. You see that barrel, that bottleneck right there? That is where Sony placed it. That is where Sony placed it. You see that bottleneck over here? That is where Sony placed it. It's right here. Well, the camera is really slim. Look at this fat camera here. You're right, look at this. Yeah, but let's compare it with the lenses on it. Yeah, I see what you're talking about there. Once you mount this lens over here, this is even bigger. Even though the camera is like an optical illusion, people don't see it. It's like now they're starting to see it. Oh my God, it makes sense. It's an optical. We got a fat camera here, but it's got a smaller lens. We got a skinny camera here, but it's got a big fat lens on it. Now why don't you fling some poo at me and tell me I'm wrong? I'm not wrong. Sony, with their small little skinny anorexic girl wonderbox, can't get around optics and physics. All hail Euclid. All hail. Deny it, you cannot. Увидимся.